Welcome back to the Green Yard and to a pretty hot August afternoon here in Phoenix, Arizona. For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome to the Green Yard. This is the food forest part of the Green Yard here, where we have most of our fruiting and flowering tropical trees and plants. There's some other parts of the Green Yard as well, like our mini stone fruit orchard and our side yard, where we had some definitely some stone fruits, as well as some other fruiting and flowering tropical trees. Definitely our goal here in the Green Yard is to kind of create a more natural space here, grow our own food, become a little bit more sustainable as well. We're here today though in the tropical food forest to talk specifically about our Atemoya. It's been almost exactly 1 year since we put our Atemoya in the ground, and it has actually been doing really well through this past year. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk a little bit more about kind of what it's been like this last year, what things have worked for me, what things haven't worked for me, and really do a how's it growing video for this Atemoya here in the food forest part of the Green Yard. Here we go. Here's our spectacular jackfruit tree, doing really well. Put on at least 2 feet of growth already this year. Just behind it is our African tulip tree as well. And then of course we have our beautiful koi fish pond down here, full of all of our koi fish. They're doing great. It's nice to have a little water feature here in the middle of our tropical food forest. I feel like it adds a little bit of humidity, as well as helps control that temperature a little bit better too. We have our Falon mango down below the camera. Falon mango was the only mango that got hit with any cold temperature, any frost last year, and it's come back beautifully. And as we continue growing through the Green Yard here, you can see our papaya, as well as our jabuticaba, Kerry mango, and then to our Atemoya here next to our beautiful Hall avocado tree. Atemoya did really well this past year. I did plant it as a small 3-gallon, so it really hasn't grown very much, and that's been actually okay with me. One of the really nice things this year though is that this spring it started putting off a whole bunch of flowers. You can see one of the flowers right here, as well as a whole bunch of new growth. So you can see coming off of this branch here as well, we have all this new growth, really starting to branch out and do a whole lot better. This is Sophia, our Green Yard dog, really starting to branch out and do a whole lot better here. I feel like after the first couple years, the trees finally do start getting acclimated, but it does take those first few years in order for them to get acclimated enough to do well here in Phoenix. I did cold protect this tree last year. As you can see here, we have our C9 Christmas light bulbs. They provide some supplemental heat, and it did thrive through the winter, and then started putting out those new growth and those flowers in the spring. So hopefully this tree ends up continuing to thrive and put on that new growth and get fruit someday. One of the other things that I feel is important to mention with our Atemoya, and we do have our Atemoya, we also have our custard apple, and then we do have a soursop tree that did not do very well last winter. It actually died back to the roots, but it has come back this spring doing really well. Spring and summer doing really well, putting out a lot of new growth. Most of our trees, like our custard apple or Atemoya, our soursop. They do need that cold protection in the winter, as well as protection in the summer. So it's really important to make that microclimate for them. For us here, we have our giant male mulberry trees that provide that afternoon shade. Starting about 11 o'clock or so is when they start getting shade, these trees. And then they get protected by that shade for the rest of the day, especially in that intense heat that we have here in Phoenix and that intense sun. So it's definitely something. You can see even here there is some sunburn on these leaves. So you know, a lot of our tropical trees, yes, they like the heat, they like that humidity, but unfortunately here in Phoenix we do get too much of that. So most of our more sensitive trees need this microclimate, kind of this food forest where we had our support species, and then we have our tropical trees underneath our understory, right? I also heavily mulched this tree when I planted it, and I definitely recommend checking out the planting video, which I'll link here as well. I mixed 50-50 soil, and then I did heavily mulch with just our tree bark, our chips here, our wood chips. One of the other things though is agricultural sulfur. I feel like agricultural sulfur is a must here in Phoenix. We do have that high pH. And then of course feeding our trees. For me, the fertilizer that I use, and I actually just put out a short about feeding my fruit trees, but the fertilizer that I use is I use fish emulsion. I found the most success with fish emulsion, and about once a month I will apply that fish emulsion to my plants here in the green yard, and seeing some good success. I feel like for the size that this plant was when it got planted last year, it has actually done very, very well here in this part of the green yard. And I love the fact that it is putting out those flowers as well. I think it's really amazing, showing me that it's happy, but also showing me that it's hopefully going to fruit here in the future. Some people have gotten fruit from our Atemoyas, so it is possible to get fruit off of Atemoyas here in Phoenix. If you guys have any additional questions about any of our fruiting or flowering trees that we included in this video, or any ones that you did not see, make sure to comment below. Follow us on social media as well. And of course, like and subscribe for more great green content. I really do like making these videos. And if you guys have any questions, I'd love to put out a video addressing those questions as well. And of course, as always, live green, plant lots, and have fun. We'll see you guys next time.